What it do, what it do, what it do. It's your host, Funky Uncle Drew. Let me put this thing up in here. Tonight, we have my homie, Dr. Mervin Spec Jenkins, coming to Dr. Mervin Jenkins on set tonight. Now, we're going to have this Funky Uncle thing popping. Now, I may be in and out, because as you see, I got to do this work thing today. However, we going to have everybody. Oh, there's my co-host right there. Boom. There he goes right there. Okay, so we going to. Hold on, fellas. Why this thing here? All right, accept. Oh, okay, there's one. Okay. What it do? What it do? The homie Spectac in the house. I'm trying to get my man. You know me. I'm just chilling. Welcome to the show, also, Funky Uncle Russo.
Gentlemen, how y'all doing?
Yeah. You know what it is. You know what it is. You see where I am.
Dr. Mervin, glad to have you, sir. Appreciate your time.
Salute.
Sir.
My dude, man, listen. I'm so, man, Spec, you know, like I told you, man, I've been wanting to have you on here for a minute. You know, you bring another certain flavor to the show, and that's all we about. We got mad flavors, and you are, well, you at that uncle age now, too.
Yeah, we all in that Gen X category, huh?
I'm trying to tell you. Okay, did I bring this thing in? I didn't bring it in there. Oh, shoot. But go ahead, Funky Uncle Russo. We're going to let Funky Uncle Russo do this thing tonight.
Yeah, I was Dr. Mervin, like I said, I was doing a little research on your background. And
you breaking up a little bit, G.
Oh, yeah? Can you hear me pretty good now?
Yeah.
What about now?
Okay.
Testing.
I think it might be the music in your background, Spec.
Yeah, that's me.
I think it might be the music in your background shutting things down.
All right, let's try it now.
Let's see. Now let's try this. Go ahead, G.
Testing. Can you hear?
Yeah.
Yeah, you good now. That's what it was.
Good now? Okay. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Doc, just a little background, man. I saw that you wrote a couple of books, and in 2014 you were with then President Barack Obama and the My Brother's Keeper initiative. Can you explain to us and our listeners why and how did this initiative pan out and where it stands today?
Well, you know what? Since the administration left, that administration, the traction certainly hasn't gotten the lift that you would have hoped and loved to have seen continue. But really, there was two parts to that. One, they were working directly with African-American males in communities around the country, as well as doing work with Hispanic males in the U.S. as well. And I mean, really, it was a grassroots initiative that definitely, during the time that we were in, man, and everything that was happening, it was certainly something that we needed. Unfortunately, there's still a need for it, man. So I try to find work that's cued in with what's happening, especially with our black males around the country. That led to me shooting off and doing work with some black males up in the Wisconsin area. And at first I thought that was crazy, to be honest, but quite frankly, you do the research and you see areas like Milwaukee where as far as incarceration, the prison pipeline, education, and healthcare for the black community, it's some of the highest need area in the country, one of the highest needs area in the country. At one point, it was the highest needs area. So obviously, man, I'm in South Carolina, but the work is needed around the country, and slowly but surely, we're trying to find opportunities to make it happen. That was just one launch that put me on the radar to get out and work with other communities outside my own.
Cool, cool. I thought that was a good thing, man. And my second question was, and I noticed from reading in your background, your bio, that
Yep,
you were an educator, and
absolutely.
I wanted to get your thoughts on today's education system and environment, and how it's changed since we've been in school
Yeah,
compared to how it is today, with the lack of teachers getting paid,
yeah,
teachers quitting, students displaying violence against teachers. The whole
yeah.
culture has changed, man. I just wanted to know your thoughts on that.
Well, man, it's certainly a sign of the time. You look at the upbringing going back to when we were school age for K-12, and things were just different, man. I mean, like, for better and for worse, we didn't have
Hmm.
access to technology near the scale that it's on now. I mean, I remember
Right,
being a high school assistant principal when Facebook like really blew up and hit the scene. We're going back 20 years. Like that wasn't there. So now with kids having access to so much at their fingertips, that's the double-edged sword. Like you can find the good stuff, and that's great, but you can also find the bad stuff, which obviously isn't. And it's something we got to prepare for. We got to do or be better stewards of what our kids are into, what they're watching, and that comes down to good parenting, man. I mean, like for me,
right.
there wasn't
Yeah.
no when I was growing up. You want to talk about the change of times? You got kids now who can put a sign up on the door in their mom and dad's home saying "Do not disturb." That wasn't happening when I was growing up, man.
Hell no.
If your mom was coming in your room, or your dad, they were coming in your room. It wasn't no knocking or what are you
Pretty
doing? Can I
much.
come in? They were coming in. And, as subtle as that may seem, it really plays out into the adults that we become and thinking that we're just privileged to do way more than we should be doing. I mean,
Right.
it's a simple math. We make it complicated, but it's simple math for real.
Exactly. I agree, man. Because I remember, man, my pops didn't play no closing doors, or,
Nah,
you got your own privacy. Nah, I wasn't
nah.
having that, bro.
Nah,
Mm-mm. You
out
wasn't
the
playing
question.
that,
And,
man.
and I mean, you can take that same scenario and apply it to almost anything. And it's just a sign of how much we've gotten away from our roots, man. So, again, even looking at the music, and I don't want to go there that fast, but you look at the
Hey,
music,
let's go there,
it's the,
man. Let's
it,
go there.
yeah, it's the same scenario, man. Like I won't
Hmm.
even call out the artist, but somebody a few days ago, one of my boys from Atlanta sent me a link to a social media site, and it was a hip hop video, and he just said to me, "Yo, happy 50th, yo!" But he was being sarcastic about it because when I watched the video, I literally halfway through said to myself, "You know what? I ain't gonna even turn this off because I'm gonna want to be able to talk about it, but I know it's gonna be my
Hmm.
last time watching it. Like I'm done."
Yeah.
So, but again, man, I mean, this has become the norm. I mean, I I think I saw a social media clip where a mom was in the front seat playing music, and a little, I don't know, 3, 4 year old in the back seat was quoting the lyrics from what's the chick
Hmm.
with my blank is pink and my blank is brown. Like,
Yeah, I don't know who that's that Sexy
there
Red.
you
Is that her name?
go, there
I
you
don't
go.
know. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that's her.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I'm just like, wow, wow. It's different, man. But we don't give up, and we continue to do the work and to try to lead folks in a direction that's going to be fruitful down the road. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. It's all about, I like to say, when your time is done on this planet, whether you've done 25 years, 50 years, whatever 100 years, when it's all said and done, and you look back, what have you done with your time here that makes things just a little bit better for the generation coming behind you? And if you can go out and name a few things that you've contributed on whatever level, local, state, national, international, if you can do that, then job well done. And that should be everybody's goal. That should be the aim for all of us, man.
Right. And I absolutely agree, brother. However, unfortunately, and we can tell by observational reality in our community, that's not always the case. That's hard to get the collective to think that way. But like you say, man, we all do our individual part. We can make that change,
Yeah,
though. You
yeah,
know.
for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. And to segue up into that, Mr. Oh, excuse me, Dr. Jenkins, my homie Spec, as I like to call him, could you tell the people about the Flocabulary program? Because I don't believe a lot of people actually know, and if they know, they may not have all the actual factuals.
Absolutely.
But we have you here to go ahead and put us
Well,
on.
definitely, any parents that's tuning in right now, I'm gonna definitely urge you guys to reach out to your teachers, your principals, central office staff, all the way up to the superintendent. And if you don't know about this program, Flocabulary is a digital ed tech platform that actually uses hip hop music in the classroom. And the gist of it is, it's not just music videos about the content. We cover all subject areas. So you got your core subject areas, math, science, language arts, social studies, and then there's some specialty areas. You get things around financial literacy. We got content around social and emotional learning and culturally relevant teaching. The list goes on. Basically, we're using hip hop music, but we're also tying in what are called the state standards. So regardless what state you live in, you have educational standards that should be met at a certain grade level. Well, we actually calibrate to make sure those videos and the interaction that you get inside the platform with some activities are all going to be aligned to state standards. And we do it through hip hop music and those engaging activities that are embedded. And the cool thing is, it's really focused on vocabulary acquisition and comprehension. So it's K through 12, kindergarten through 12th grade, and it's a really cool way to get students engaged. I like to say to people that hip hop music has been for several years now the #1 genre music in the world. And on top of that, man, we know that the age group that's listening, as we said earlier, it is that school age group for the most part that's really, really pushing the buttons and making this whole culture expand, grow, and we need to elevate, but that's a story for another day. We've touched on that already. But with the Flocab platform, they're definitely getting sound content that's aligned to state standards, but they're getting it in a way that they can connect, engage, and have fun in their learning.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds like a good program, man.
I
Absolutely.
wish
And
they
I
had it when
encourage
I was in
parents to
school,
look
dude.
into it.
Yeah, yeah.
Say again, Doc.
I wish they had it when I was in school, man. Like I say that all the time. Like being a fan of the music, the culture, you know, living it. You know, I would have loved to have been a student and have a teacher say to me, "Hey, you know what? You can do this report hip hop style. So if you want to rap this report about I don't
Yeah,
know,
that would
math
have been cool.
equations, yeah, the Revolutionary War, like whatever. If you want to
Hmm.
rap that out, you can do that. But you know, again, man, being a part of this movement now and having the opportunity to touch so many students using that platform, definitely I see it as a part of my calling, man, because again, I'm
Right.
definitely a child of hip hop music and culture for sure.
Absolutely, man. And DR was telling me you were back in your, I don't know, was it your Benedict days? You were a
Uh,
rapper and had some
Man,
pretty good lyrics, man, you know?
you know, as I'm quiet as kept, man, definitely it was an amazing run, man.
Hmm.
I had the chance to work with in some capacity some of the big ones that came out of that era. You know, everybody from Big
Give us
Daddy
a
Kane.
couple names. Give us a couple names, man, like who you work with or had the
Yep.
opportunity to meet during your rap career.
Man, Big Daddy Kane. We actually recorded a single together. Big shout to my man Dana Dane. We stay in touch to this day, man. Cool cat, but
Okay.
definitely Dana Dane. Um, some work with Fife Dog from Tribe Called Quest. You know, Fife was
Mm.
a fan of the early music, and he definitely tried to secure that deal for me many years ago. But yeah, man, I mean, tons of show openings, Certainly too many to name, but again, man, I've been a part of the music and culture since I was in middle school, so that was a really, really long time ago.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. That's good
And for
stuff right there, Doc.
those that don't know, they can find that album that he did with Shakim on YouTube.
Yeah.
You know, as I always tell you, I still listen to it and I still tell people about it.
Yeah,
because
man.
I'm like, yo, yeah.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
we did the Shakim project, man. That was dope. I actually was blessed with having Sky Zoo on that project. So that was the first single that came off was
And Fat Rat.
Yep, Fat Rat Bizarre. Man, God, who else was it? I'm trying to think. Warren Went was on that.
Warren Went, yeah.
Obviously, I came with another project with Amari, you know, so the Spectac and Amari project was out there. And even before all that happened, the work with Ninth Wonder, man, like, although that album was never officially released, you can still find that on YouTube, the complete album, Spectac and Ninth Wonder, Spectac on the Corner of Ninth. So yeah, man, lots of work, lots of memories, and we're still making them, man. Because, you know, even with the work with Flocab, I was just out in LA, up in the Valley last week. We went up to Antelope Valley, and I had a room full of educators, man, like at least 50 teachers and administrators, and we were talking about rhyme writing and really them getting a good concept of how it works and being able to relay that to their students when the school year kicks off, which happens to be right about now. So yeah, man, it's good work.
Right.
And we're still pushing it, man.
That's
that relatability is a big thing. I mean, I was just talking to G about that. You know, when it comes to dispersing information, the more you want to reach different demographics, you have to learn how to make it relatable to the different demographics.
Yeah.
That makes it where the knowledge really expands. You know, it grows in value. Those jewels grow in value because more people are accepting them and understanding, and then they can find a way to use them. So,
no doubt. And yo, big shout out. I'm looking at the chat, Mr. J Hunter 77. You're absolutely correct. My little sister Carolina Dirty. Definitely, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention her as the feature. She's been the lifetime feature. Almost every project she's shown love, and you know, the little sis, man, she has a record in the game herself. As a matter of fact, the last group she was a part of, it was her and several females. One being the legendary Moni Love. So yeah, man, Carolina Dirty, my little sister, big shout. Sure.
Cool.
Yeah, my brother.
Yeah, man.
Brother's well connected. He knows some good people.
I see that. No doubt, man. That's
of course,
it's heavy.
it comes from a lot of hard work and not being at the point where he feels like his ish don't stink.
Yeah.
But understanding the what's the word I'm looking for? Understanding
staying humble and grounded, along with making major moves. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Yeah.
And definitely understanding that not like that no new friends crap that came out. I swear I still hate that, but I still hate that because it doesn't make sense. It's like it's something that's going to hold you back when you think you have something like that, and you have that mindset that you don't want to meet anybody new. But if everybody around you is doing the same thing and you want to do something different, how's you going to do something new?
Exactly.
Right.
You know.
Absolutely.
So it's crazy. And some of the things going back to the music, you know, as you said on the album, we did have some sideways stuff in our day. So, you know, I've heard the album about 1,005 times. So I can pretty much quote a lot of things that you said on there.
No doubt.
So we can't sit and act like we didn't have some sideways stuff. And what we're looking at today is kind of like the culmination of the things that we made popular, you know. We made NWA popular.
I mean, honestly, man, it's funny you say that, but like as you listen and become a student of music, man, you can go back, especially when you look into black music or any genre, but you can go back, man, to my grandmother's time of hit songs like Beans and Cornbread had a fight. You can go back to that era of music, and we're talking probably the 40s maybe, definitely 50s, and you find music that'll make you open your eye and go, whoa, grandma was listening to that, you know, like, so it's nothing new for sure, man. But again, they didn't have the instant access that kids have now. So, I mean, any content, you got to think about it. You can broadcast it to the world in a matter of seconds, man. And again, there's a lot of good with that, but there's also a lot of bad. So how do you make sure you're getting way more good than bad out of that? That's the problem we got to fix.
Yeah, and part of it is with the content. When you look at what was in our grandparents' time, another song I always think about is "My Ding-a-Ling."
Yep.
But
Yep.
you know, sometimes things were covered. You know, you had to know the lingo. Yeah, we all speaking English, but we're still speaking a different language.
No doubt.
When you had hip hop back in the 80s and 90s, if you didn't understand certain things, you just didn't know. You didn't know you couldn't understand the double entendres or anything. One of the ones that I explain to people here in South Carolina that don't know is like when on Tribe he said bust off on your couch, now you got Siemens furniture. So cats, you know, a lot of cats down here, they be like, okay, bust off on the couch. Yeah, but there's a place up there that sold furniture called Siemens Furniture. So they be like, oh, I'm like, see, now you get
They
it.
didn't understand the wordplay. Like,
exactly. But now it's out front.
You know, man, like that's a perfect segue into, like, when I hear the term bridging the gap, like, I know a lot of times it's referring directly to the academic gap or achievement gap, but the reality is even the gap between the relationship with one generation and the next generation. Because it's funny you say that. When I was in middle school and I started rapping around 1983, 84, I remember having my rhyme notepad and leaving it home one day. And when I came home from school, my mom was going through the pad. And as soon as I walked in the door, she was like, I knew you were doing dope. I was like, what? and
wow.
She was reading the lines where I was like, yo, I'm doper than blah, blah, blah. I'm the dopest.
Right.
And she literally took that for me doing dope. I'll never forget that. The reality is, man, that disconnect is still there. And it's all the reason why, as educators or as adults that are bringing up young people, you got to kind of stay in touch with what they're doing. And I mean, that kind of sums it up, man. Real talk.
Yeah. And I got another music question, Doc. You very well traveled in your music career. How do you compare music now to back when, in our days, when hip hop was, you know, there were different factions. You had your Public Enemy, you had your Ice Cube, Run DMC. We had different acts of hip hop. When today it doesn't quite seem that way. It's all one sound, one monotone. What's your thoughts on compared to back in the day?
Well, I do feel like as far as it being diverse, I still feel like that diversity is there. I think what has happened is we've allowed one kind of sound to saturate the market, you know, because there are still young cats that if you walk up to them and say, yo, name me your top 5, they're going to be like, oh, I like Jay-Z, I like Biggie, I like Pop. And I'm going at age 50 something, I'm like, yo, those are my MCs, you know, like, but,
right. Nas, yeah.
Redman.
There you go. But you got kids that are in their late teens and 20s who will call out those artists as that's my top 5. They know what's going on with the other styles of hip hop, but that's what they love. Unfortunately, and for some that's what they do even. But unfortunately, that's not what the radio is throwing out there at the masses, and it gets drowned out, man. So you know, I mean, I used to be that cat yelling, oh, hip hop is dead, and yo, y'all kill the game. But you know, the reality is, man, there's a reason we call old people, and it's not just because bones are starting to get fragile and all. It's because you just think different, man. I mean, you think different, you move different. The problem is, once again, we need to always remind ourselves that, yeah, we were young and we were pushing the envelope, and for better or for worse, that's what got us where we are in a lot of instances. But nah, I really, back to the question, I feel like all the different styles still exist, probably way more than existed from the era that you were just dabbling in, the Ice Cube era, the NWA and Run DMC.
Right.
But mainstream has pretty much said this is it, and that's what the masses flow with. And I guess it's dangerous, because when you get someone who doesn't really know hip-hop music and culture, they hear what's being thrown in front of them, and they just assume that that speaks for the entire genre and movement, and that's obviously not the case at all.
And that was the same back in our era. When you look at those that were maybe not a generation above us, but 2 generations above us.
Yep.
I remember my great aunt was like, there was something they had in Reader's Digest, and where they quoted something that Snoop Dogg said, if you want some bad enough, take some. Take what? You got to take, you got to listen to the whole verse. And you can't just listen to this small little snippet. So, you know, that part is continual, because hip hop is more than just the music. It's become a lifestyle, and it has expanded and gone and flown around the world many times, to where it's influenced, you know, others in other countries.
Yeah, man.
It has 50/50 to hip hop, you know.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I was getting ready to mention that.
Big shout, man. Yeah, but you know, I think about some years ago when Bill O'Reilly was on his campaign to really say that hip hop music is the reason why the Christian values have fallen off, and he just went on a tangent about hip hop, man. And the reality is, once again, it's not rocket science, man. Any profession you call out, any profession, you're going to have bad parts and people involved, and you're going to have good people. And you can take that from lawyers, doctors, police officers, the list goes on and on. School teachers and administrators, like, you're going to have those few people with ill intent, and it's not many, but you guys know how that works, man. It only takes one. Remember that saying? It only takes one. I mean, let's think about it. The both of you guys can walk outside tomorrow, pull the kitten from the tree, save the little kid from getting hit by a car, but you get one bad thing to go down, and all of a sudden, that's who you are. Yeah. And that's just
that's what you're gonna be remembered for. That one time you mucked up, man.
That's what you're gonna be remembered for. So, you know, man, I mean, I think again, that's a human trait that has been around since as long as humans have been on this planet, and it's probably not going anywhere. But I think as long as we try to be conscious of that in every move that we make, then it certainly gives us a clear runway to take off and really do the things that matter in life, man. Because nobody's squeaky clean, man. Nobody.
Right.
Absolutely. Oh, man. Before I forget, I'm going to rewind it a little bit back to the educational portion. Now, there has been chatter that LeBron James' school has had problems where they haven't had any of the kids in the school pass the math portion like 3 years. You think you might be able to
standardized tests, right?
Right. Yeah. You think you might be able to reach up there and help them out? I mean, I'm not a LeBron James fan. You understand? I like the old school ball, where you can bump them. You know what I'm saying? People don't fall out and cry all over the floor. I'm not with that. And from somebody that's used to being the smallest person on the court, I'm not with all that. But as far as his humanitarian efforts and all that, I think that you know, since he is doing something good for people, like you were saying before, if you made your mark, if we have people like you who can reach out to him, because maybe the kids that he has will really gravitate to your method of learning, and they could really benefit from, hey, you know what, because like you said, hip hop is taking over. It's the #1 genre. So if we can learn this math like that, it could help them out. So just a little something I'm going to throw out there, because, you know, those kids up there really need it. If they're passing everything else, they need that math, get them.
I'm seeing my homegirl Kelly in the room. She's a crazy Michael Jordan fan, so I think you guys will get along well, Drew. I'm sure that's your man.
I'm not a Jordan fan either. I'm not a Jordan
Come
fan either.
on,
So,
man. Come on, Flex.
Drew, I'm done,
you know,
sir.
I've always been different,
I'm
bruh.
done.
Always.
I'm done. Evidently you were, dude. I'm done. I like Jordan and LeBron, but it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah,
It's all
it's all
good.
I'm
good,
But hey,
man.
different.
but hey, Drew, man, like, like, like real talk, fellas. You know, again, it's LeBron James. It's high profile. Obviously, everything he's doing is in the spotlight. But let's be real, man. Kids are suffering around the country, not just in math, but in all those standardized testing areas. Kids are not making the grade. So, you know, again, he's an easy person to spotlight because he's high profile. But if you really get down to the root of this, man, this is something that's definitely happening all over the place. And whatever we can do, man, and whoever can step in and step up and come to the table with some solutions, then we got to be open for that, and we got to be inviting to it. That's the other thing, man. A lot of times, you like, let's be real. He probably, for the most part, they could have twisted that and like kept it under wraps a little more than what it was. Maybe I'm not sure. Maybe they couldn't. But either way, the fact that the dirty laundry's out, that's the kind of team I'd be ready to step up and work for, because it's hard when you go into certain scenarios, especially when information like that is kept private. You know, a lot of people don't want to air that dirty laundry. So my thing is, how does the work get done if you don't know the work is needed? So the fact that it's out there now, maybe some people will come to the call if the doors are open for that, to step in and say, hey, I got an idea of something that might work. Like that's the start. The start is, you know what? It's messed up, and I want you to know it's messed up because I want you to help. So you know, man, I'm hoping that now that attention is going to be pretty much used to uplift that community. But again, not just that community, all the communities where our kids are struggling in those standardized testing areas, man.
Right. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And here, let's see. I wrote down some other questions, man. Community, current school system. Talk about that. Oh, let's talk about your books, Doc. You know, you got a couple books out there. Explain to the audience and the people who are not aware of your background as an author, and you know, kind of give us a synopsis of your books you've written.
I appreciate that. You know, quite frankly, both books came out this year. One was way early at the start of 2023, and then the other was several months ago, which still was rather early for the year, but they came out back to back. The first was sort of just an introduction. It's titled Before They Leave Here, While They're With Us. And that book, honestly, was just telling everybody, if you're of age where you're in the workforce, whatever you do, don't forget to make time for family and loved ones. That was the gist of the book. It was really telling you to slow down. You know, just to be frank, jobs are always going to be here, but your mama won't, your cousin won't, you know, your little brother, little sister won't. So just make that time to put in with family members and loved ones, because you don't get it back, and you don't know when it's going to end, whether it's ending with you or with them. But either way, eventually it does happen. And that's what that book was all about. Now, the second book that I wrote, To the Beat of Leadership, A Story of High and Low Notes, that one really was a memoir / autobiography, where I literally talked about hip hop music and culture and how it impacted my style of leadership when I went on to becoming a school principal and going into the ed tech field, working in higher ed with a nonprofit in a leadership role. I just spoke to how those life experiences basically impacted the way I chose to lead. So it's an entertaining piece, but if you're in leadership or aspiring leaders, this is definitely something you'll want to check out. And my whole intention were to get people laughing, but also get them thinking about the work that lies ahead, if that's something you're interested in going into.
Okay. And if people wanted to purchase your books and, you know,
Yep,
give them
they can.
a look over, how could they?
They can.
Yeah.
They can get both books on Amazon. So if you were to go and just do the Amazon search bar and look for both of those books before they leave here, while they're with us, and follow the Beat of Leadership or To the Beat of Leadership, you'll find both of those on Amazon platforms, and they're in hardback, paperback, and you can get it in the Kindle version.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Cool. Because yeah, I was reading about the book where it says before they leave here and while they're with us, and it kind of made me think, man, you know, because I work a lot,
Yep.
man. I work a hell of a lot,
Yep.
and I've been kind of putting family members and
Oh yeah.
my mom and, you know, everything on the back burner, just chasing that paper, man.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can get consumed by that and lose
All
track
the
of time and things happening, man. So
all the
I could
time, man.
definitely
All the
relate.
time. All the
Yeah.
time. Yeah. Yeah. No, I appreciate that, you know. And again, man, I even told folks as I was writing the book, it definitely gave me what I like to call those teachable moments, where I just had to stop and pause and say, hey, you know what? You got to do a better job at that. And so hopefully, man, that was communicated and it came across like that to anybody who picked up a copy and had an opportunity to read it. So appreciate the shout out.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, man. Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. And let's see. Let's see. DR, you still there? Or you kind of busy, bro? They got you on the clock, I know.
Yeah, he on the clock.
But
Yeah.
I know how it is, brother. I know how it is.
Yeah.
And take us back to your Benedict days, man, at HBCU.
Yeah.
And in our community, HBCUs are, you know, are prestigious. How is it going to Benedict and being in the area of Columbia, South Carolina? That's where I live now, and I like Columbia, man. It's pretty nice, man. How was your time at Benedict, bro?
Well, I grew up in a little town called Utahville,
Oh
South
yeah?
Carolina, and yeah,
Okay.
man, yeah, Orange County. So South Carolina State and College, they were the neighboring schools, obviously for me, and I got accepted to both State and Benedict. I chose Benedict at the time. I was going through it with my mom and wanting to go to New York and pursue a dream of becoming a hip hop star, which she wasn't quite fond of, to be honest. So lo and behold, I ended up in Columbia at Benedict, man. And at first, I really didn't embrace the experience because I was a little upset that I didn't get to like leave high school and go straight to New York and pursue music. But I quickly fell in love with it, man. I quickly fell in love with the people, the professors at the university. You know, they really gave you that feeling of still being at home with your uncles, your aunts, your moms and dads, and so forth. Like you really in that small knit community. I think a lot of students got the attention that they deserve, and it certainly made the learning process really cool for me. Like I wasn't of the mentality that I would do well in any college, I guess, and a lot of that had to do with what other people were telling me as I came through the school system. But I found Benedict to be very enjoyable. It was a great learning experience. I definitely enjoyed being in Columbia. Columbia to me back then felt like I was in New York, man. There was nothing better.
Yeah, Columbia was popping back then, bro.
Hey man, coming out of driving on a 26, heading west on 26, and then seeing those bright lights, man. When you get up to the exit where you veer off on 77 or keep straight on 26, and being able to see the downtown skyline.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty magical for me, man. So I really enjoyed that time at Benedict. I definitely got to work in a environment where I saw people like me who were successful. You know, those were some of the first time that I got to witness people with advanced degrees in such a small community, but in such large numbers. So I do appreciate that experience. And then once I finished Benedict, I was back to Charleston, where I started teaching and also attending school, working on my master's at Charleston Southern University. And that was a totally different experience. Majority white population at Charleston Southern at the time. when I was doing my master's work. But again, man, all those experiences, they led me to where I am now. And I definitely wouldn't change anything, man, for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely, brother.
That's what's up. Proud of you, bro, man. You proof, man. You're proof that hard work pays off.
Without,
You're proof.
appreciate
You know?
that.
Yeah.
And I'm
That's
so
that. It
happy
still
to say
takes that.
that's my brother right there. That's right. You got something to say? How Smoke say, anybody got something to say, they come to me because that's my dog.
Absolutely, man.
Oh
Yeah.
man. So what's the next move?
Man, that's a good question, dude. I've been putting in work with my own nonprofit, Life Through Music. So definitely, if you get a chance, check it out. www.lifethrough. That's THRU music.com. And really, the whole motivation behind doing Life Through Music is I wanted to tell my story about being the reluctant learner and how the relationships that were made with me going through kindergarten through 12th grade into the K-16 college level work. Pretty much those relationships really carved out a pathway for me and put me in a position to actually be a contributing member of society. So with Life Through Music, our goal is to go into school districts and not only work with the teachers, but also work with the students, also work with the administrators, and also work with the parents and the business community, because those are all stakeholders in a school community. And a lot of times we forget that. A lot of times we think it's all on the teachers, or it's all on the principal, or it's all on the superintendent. And that's not the case, man. We're all stakeholders. We all play a part. And when we're not communicating the right way, then it's not productive. So the work with Life Through Music is really about holding workshops where we're sitting down and talking with students about, hey, you know what? If you're having trouble with a teacher, this is the proper channels to take to try to resolve that issue. We talk with parents. You know, if you're having problems with the way your child is being treated by the school system, here are the proper channels, and here's a way to do it where nobody feels like they're being attacked, but everybody's coming to the table with one thing in mind: making sure this kid is successful. So that's the gist of it. And we've been putting in work, man. I was just up in Laurinburg, North Carolina, Scotland County Schools about a month ago, and I worked with all their school principals and assistant principals district-wide. And I'm actually going to be heading back up there this week to be their keynote speaker at the back-to-school convocation. So, yeah, man, we're putting in the work, and we're trying to make a difference.
I see, brother. Yeah, man. And I can appreciate you in doing that work, man, because you know, it's helped to open my eyes a little bit, because I'm gonna be honest with you, Doc. At one point I totally turned my back on our community, man. And some of it still turned, but after kind of listening to you and seeing a brother like you, man, I'm kind of, you know, thinking otherwise now, man, because like you say, what's gonna be your legacy when you leave? What's gonna be your work behind?
And you know what, man? First of all, hats off for even admitting that that's the space you were in. And I think most people wouldn't be honest with themselves if they said they never felt that way. I mean, you can ask any rapper from our era. They're going to tell you there were points where in their career where they felt like, yo, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. But you come back to it because when it's something you're truly passionate about, and not just being passionate, but also something that you find a purpose for, you're going to come back to it. So we all need a breather, man. I mean, I feel that way sometimes, you know, but I sit back, I hear somebody else, I get inspired, and I come back to it. And that's life.
And you definitely inspired me, brother, you know. And when DR mentioned your name, I went and Googled your name and started reading some of your bio, man. I said, this is a heavy brother right here, man. And I appreciate what you're doing, brother. No doubt, man.
Most definitely. He's carrying a load that you know others can but won't. So we always have to appreciate those that take that stand, put that load on their shoulders and carry it. as far as they
No doubt.
can. Like you
Yeah.
said, however many years that you're on this earth, you carrying it. You're doing what you can.
Appreciate you, fam.
Yep.
And yo, man, thank you
No
guys
doubt.
for making this platform available. You know, Uncle Drew, you and I spoke just the other day, and this is really what it's all about, man. Because I always tell people, all it takes is a spark, man. And a lot of times we overlook that. You know, I had a homeboy. He wrote a book several years ago, and just like it was just stated, he got tired. He was like, man, like, I can't move these copies and da da da. And I'm like, yo, you just put a book into the universe. That's going to be here, and it's going to make a difference long after you're gone. Number one, that's an accomplishment in itself. And number two, all it takes is a spark. Somebody watching this show tonight could be like, yo, you know what? I love what these guys are doing. I want to give them a bigger platform to do this on. Somebody might listen and say, yo, I'm going to go pick up that book that Dr. Jenkins wrote. Like, that's the spark. And you never know if that's going to lead to a wildfire or not. Hate to use that term, but anyway, that can set it off. That can set it off. So thank you guys. Thank you for creating this platform, man.
Hey, no problem, brother. We're glad to have you on. And like I said, going forward, man, we the funky uncles. You're a funky uncle. Woo. You know, hey, 100. And I think the name fits, man. 100. You know, the name fits, man.
100.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I see Kwame coming on, another funky uncle, another regular from the beginning.
Yeah,
I
man. Kwame, what's up, man?
Man, look here. You know, the boys done got me wearing this Tennessee Titans down here, man.
Oh shit. Tennessee Titans. Hey, man, I'm gonna have to go lay it down, man. It's a pleasure talking to you, brothers. We'll do it again. I got an early rise. Shout out to Drew for creating those funky uncle water things right there to look get you one. And,
hey, Spec, like I said, man, all you gotta do is send me your Addy. You know what I'm saying? You came on the show on the love, so I gotta get you one of these on the love. Just tell me which one you want. You know, I get it shipped to you.
I'm gonna shoot it over to you now, sir.
Hey,
okay,
y'all
no
brothers
doubt,
be safe, man, and we'll definitely have this conversation again, man.
And once
love.
again,
once
shout
again,
out to
Doc,
everybody.
salute, man. Appreciate you, man.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
All right. Let's see. Yeah, y'all. Oh, I'm still here. Who's still here with me?
I'm still here, man. Catching the tail end, trying to see what happened.
Oh man, we just had a nice conversation here, and you see, I'm still on. Just go ahead and sign at the bottom. You see, I'm still here. I ain't going nowhere. It seems like.
I just left one of my friend's house. I grilled yesterday, so I grilled too much. So he had, leftovers. So eating chickens and ribs and networking.
Hey, that's how it goes, man. That's how it goes. Oh, sugar, honey, iced tea. This thing isn't working.
Okay. Who else
I
on?
think I need to find it. Let's see who else is on here. IKJ Poetry, Mr. Sean Davenport,
Yeah, that's my
Mr.
boy.
J. Hunter.
See if Sean jump on. Yeah.
Well, I definitely appreciate everybody that came on. You know, Dr. Mervin Jenkins, aka Spectac, and it was a great conversation tonight. And we got some good insight from him and what he's done, what he's doing, and hopefully somebody that watches this as we put it on YouTube and what have you, they can get something from it. And it's all about the positivity. Maybe it'll help create a solution to some of their problems or a problem or whatever the case may be. We all about the solutions to the problems. We don't want the problems just to linger. We want to get that thing fixed and move on before them problems build up.
Yeah.
But guess we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna shut this thing on down for the Nizite. But I want everybody to stay in. Look at Jay. What up, Jay? Jay popped on. I want everybody to stay tuned because this may be a special week. With it being my birthday week, I'm gonna have some more people on this week. I'm in the works. We already have one show coming up, but it's planned for the 23rd with the Showstopper. She's agreed to come on, so we're gonna have her come on, and maybe a couple others. We might even get the CEO 5107 on here, and we can get him, to have some free time and chop it up with his boys, the Funky Uncles. You feel me? So, Jay is a nut job, so he fits right in with the rest of us.
There you go.
So I want to send the funky uncle salute out to everybody. Thanks for joining. Thanks for watching. And we have more to come. Talk to you later.